Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Take the Hill, which is a leadership podcast designed to connect you with the human experience of leadership through our many conversations here, as well as with the many guests that we have the incredible opportunity to interact with along the way. So I'd like to welcome back as well Dennis and Angelo. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hey, welcome.
Hello, everybody. It is good to be here. We are live. Well, not live, but we're in person, which is awesome.
Yes.
Different.
It's great to be able to do this again. I know we had a little bit of a hiatus. Like I said, just with everything that has happened over the past year or so in the world, which, like I said, it didn't slow us down perhaps completely. But like I said, we haven't been able to tape as many episodes as we would have liked. Like I said, there's just a lot of stuff happening around the world at a global level as well as personally, no doubt. So today, what we'd like to do is at least get caught up a little bit and hear what Angelo and Dennis have been up to over the past year or so. Before we start to get some guests on our show, just to get their perspective, perhaps of big things that happened in their lives, in terms of people, places, and things over the last year or so. So, Angelo, what's going on, man?
Oh, geez. I'm here, and I think that sometimes that's just, that's an accomplishment in itself, is just being here, being happy and smiling and doing things that you love to do. It's good to be here with the three of you and to kind of get back into some sort of grind that we, are pretty used to doing here with Take the Hill. It's been a whirlwind for everybody here, it seems. But me personally, a lot has changed since I think the last time that we really taped. I've always looked up to the both of you for your strong leadership skills and always was waiting for my opportunity to maybe really get a chance to jump into a leadership role and position. And finally, over the summer, heading into August, I was given the opportunity to move into a new role here at Point Park University. I'm now the Director of Student Conduct. So that's some of the big news for me. It is a director role, it's a leadership role here on campus, and really the big focus for me is to ensure the safety of the community, to uphold the standards, expectations, and policies of the university and the student handbook, and ultimately to find educational ways to help students just become better representations of Point Park University, better representations of themselves, and to try to help give some of the leadership skills that I have acquired and help others kind of gain some of that as well.
And that's awesome. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, and I'll let Dennis, of course, jump in here, but I mean, it's been a pleasure, like I said, having you with us on this journey and just being able to watch you grow as a leader. Like I said, you were always a leader, and I suppose the right word should be continue to refine that leadership skill set. And so much of the things that we talk about on the show in terms of honesty, integrity, and purpose, and passion, and just really making your way in the world and being who you are. I think students and the university community as a whole responds to you because you are an authentic version of yourself. So just my thoughts.
I appreciate that. And I'm curious, Dennis, to hear what you've been up to then recently.
Well, first I'd like to congratulate you, Angelo, on your new position.
Jeez.
It's exciting when you're moving forward, and your personality. You're definitely going to go far, and you're going to do well in that type of a position. Angelo made a reference that he was with us three. I think he's counting me as two. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't eat that.
Three?
Maybe I shouldn't eat that donut this morning. But,
did I say three? I think I'm thinking about maybe our guests that are coming on.
Okay.
But no, that's fine. Hey, a lot has been happening in my life, actually. Just career-wise, it's kind of the same. I'm still teaching at all the different colleges that I teach at Indiana University of Pennsylvania full-time, and here at Point Park part-time, and Penn State part-time, Waynesburg part-time. So I keep busy teaching, but I've recently, just because of the housing market, I sold my home and made quite a profit, and I'm actually going to be building a cabin in the middle of nowhere.
What?
And I'm going to become a minimalist.
Are you really?
I've always had a dream to just minimize what I am, who I am, and just live life floating on the lake. So
no way.
So I'm getting myself set up for retirement for the next 5 years, hopefully maybe 8, 10. Well, if IUP's listening, I'll probably work till I die. But anyway, just stuff like that. I'm excited and looking forward to it. just minimalizing my whole being.
Now, I got a question, though, Dennis, surrounding all that. Did the pandemic have anything to do with this? Did it? This may have been something that you've wanted to do for some time, but did it propel this forward a little bit?
No, I'll be honest with you. I think, and this is going to sound stupid, but my age, I think I'm just tired of worrying about things and trying to obtain those things and get things. And now I'm just going to be happy and content with what I have, and just hopefully live life in a much easier flow, and just probably getting to know myself a little better and my wife a little better, and just pursuing other interests.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and that's awesome. I think it's a good story too, and I know we haven't really had the time on our show, I think, to really dig into Dennis's background. But like you said, I mean, I think I would say you lived your life to the fullest.
Yeah.
So far, right? You've had a really incredibly interesting journey in terms of your professional pathway through life.
Yes.
And like you said, I think that collective experience has enabled you to be comfortable with that decision to say, okay, you know what? It's time to just relax a little bit and enjoy the world, right?
Yeah, I think I've obtained all the goals that I really were shooting for. But like you said, maybe one day we'll do a show on my humble beginnings and all the things that I overcame. In our audience, I overcame a lot of hurdles as far as my personal life and dependencies and all them type of things, and having people tell me I could never do it. So my only advice I can give anybody out there listening is, don't ever let anybody tell you you can't do what you want to do, because you can. Just with a little hard work, and a little vision, and just move forward and just jump all those hurdles.
Awesome.
Well, Patrick, though, what about you? I mean, I feel like somebody's got to ask you the question and ask what you've been up to. I know you're a busy guy. I mean, you're all over the place.
Usually I'm the one asking the questions. So
I know.
I can avoid that answering, I suppose, sometimes, huh? But no, you know what? I look at this last year, again, for me, I feel like I didn't slow down enough, right? I mean, in all honesty, because, again, it was one of those things where, life kept going for our kids and our family, and then we were trying to kind of lead our way through this pandemic, right? So, like I said, there's certainly a little more flexibility to my time, but I feel like you said every day was still kind of action-packed. But I was incredibly grateful, because I think if you look at it holistically, I mean, when in your life do you essentially get a year to spend more time with your family? I mean that's such a rare thing, right? Yes. And so there were times where I would consciously make decisions to, you know what, I'm just gonna kind of put work aside for a little bit. And like you said, enjoy being there with my kids, whether that was doing homework, laundry, making dinner, whatever that may have been. But yeah, so in terms of projects, though, my biggest accomplishment over the last year, I had really wanted to finish one of my particular flight training goals, which was to wrap up the flight instructor stuff. I'd been putting that off, so I was able to finish that one. And again, like you said, there was just a couple other projects related to this podcast. Dennis and I are trying to start to write a book at some time, which might be done, I think, by the time we're about 90.
What?
And I'll hit that before you, so let's hurry.
Yeah.
This is news to me.
It is. Well, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where, between us, and there's just so many stories, that we've experienced over the course of our lives that directly relate, I think, to leadership.
Oh, yeah.
In some way. And we've had conversations about this idea that when we look at leadership, people have turned it into this really complex idea that's gotten away from the essence of what it truly should be. And like I said, I think I'm not going to speak directly for Dennis here, but I think collectively we somewhat believe that maybe our contribution is to kind of get it back to the core essence of relationships, right? And the realization that anybody can be a leader, regardless of your role or position within an organization.
I agree.
We've lost a lot of that.
And that it just becomes so, it's like, it's tunnel vision. Everybody just has this idea, and actually I think and we don't want to give away our book, but it's actually corrupting, or it's causing so much corruption within that relationship between leader and follower that I don't think anybody has a true essence of or an idea of what it really means.
Yeah, so
as a
out
whole.
there, if anybody's listening, if you're a good writer,
Yeah, ghostwriter.
right, we need some help in a big way. So, or if you're just really good at motivating, we're good at following directions. Right, that's why we work good with Angelo, because he's kind of leading the charge here. But so I don't know. I mean, my question for you, Angelo, though, is as you look back at the last year, what is one thing that you became just completely attached to that you could go nowhere without today?
And you're saying that this is like a
A gadget, a tool.
due to the pandemic or something?
Over the last year, for whatever reason. What is there something there? Is it a playlist? Is it what is it?
So, I mean, I'm certainly always attached to my phone and technology. That's nothing new. But to be honest with you, the thing that I've been kind of attached to the most is my Nintendo Switch. I'm a big video game guy. I'm a big believer that you gotta take care of yourself. You have to have some of that downtime, do the things that help you decompress and just have some fun. I'm a big physical media collector, so I've been having my Switch next to me whenever I can. I try to take 15 minutes, just sit down, play a little game, unwind. Puts me in a good mental space to move forward with the rest of my day.
Nice.
What about you guys?
Dennis, you're on deck.
Yeah.
See how I avoided that?
Wow, what am I attached to? I guess I'm attached to a concept, and this might be a little odd, but I'm obsessed with this idea of just creating a new lifestyle for myself. My wife and I both have sat down and we're finding that we're just at peace with all this, and that we're finding out it's really what we want to do. So I'm obsessed with this new concept: tiny house, less things, the whole 9 yards. So
Nice.
I don't know. And I love my camping. I love being out in nature and on the boat and stuff like that.
I know, Angelo, you're a kayaker too, right?
I am.
So,
I am.
The outdoors is a big part of it.
It is. It's good to get out there.
And I'll throw one out there. Pizza. I have been obsessed with becoming really good at making my own pizza.
Wow.
And we're talking about dough to the ingredients to the point where I'm ready to build a fire pit in my backyard to actually cook these things. So I don't know. I've always been a pizza. Is a pizza person the real thing? I don't know.
I got one question though.
What's that?
I only live half mile from you, and I've had yet to share a pizza with you in this past year. So
you've figured out my Achilles heel in terms of leadership. I'm a very selfish individual when it comes to food. All right, so I guess that's a throwback to the Friends episode. Nobody touches Joey's fries. Right. So yeah, that's my. So I apologize.
No, that's okay. I'll crash your pizza party one of these days.
What's the thing that you want to accomplish with your pizza making next? I mean, is there a particular style of pizza, or maybe a particular ingredient that you want to incorporate that you haven't done yet?
No, okay, this is going to be really corny, but my thing is I love making pizza for other people, right? So
wait a minute,
what?
What?
So Dennis, I waited purposely until you left town before I started inviting the other cool people at Point Park over, right? So no, I know that sounds incredibly arrogant of myself, but no, it's just not ready yet.
No, I get
it's just not ready yet.
I get it. You want to wait till you've perfected it before you bring in the pros.
Right. That's right. Absolutely. So when I have you and Angelo and everybody else over, like you said, it would be perfected to the point where y'all can come enjoy some of that
I'm
stuff.
looking forward to it.
Yum.
There we go. So, all right, welcome back, everybody. We are here with Jenna, who
Jenna.
is an
Hello.
SAEM major in the Roland School of Business at Point Park University, right, Jenna?
Yep.
Welcome to the show. So today we want to talk about music.
Yes.
So I notice you're wearing a Guns N' Roses shirt.
I am.
Fan or just like the logo?
I know some of their stuff. This was actually my mom's tour shirt from
no
when
way.
she went how many years ago.
That's
so.
So cool. All right, right now, favorite bands. Give me your top two.
Ooh, I've been super into Greta Van Fleet recently.
Yes, Greta Van Fleet.
Yeah, they're really good.
Is it because of TikTok? Are you seeing them on there? Or
I was into them a little bit before, but then TikTok has definitely sped it up a little bit.
Now, as Patrick said, I am a little modest, but I will say I've interviewed Greta Van Fleet for my podcast before.
Have you?
I interviewed Greta Van Fleet before they ever got big. No joke. So if you go and check out, I can't remember the episode, but I had everybody but Josh, everybody but the lead singer was on the show with me. And they're amazing. They're so talented.
That's awesome.
Have you seen them live?
No, I haven't. I'm really excited to, though.
They put on a good show.
Ooh.
So, and I sorry to interrupt. So Greta Van Fleet's one of the bands that you like. What else?
Yeah. Well, I'm actually seeing Harry Styles tonight. He's
There
a big
you go.
one.
That's
cool. That's
Love
very
him. I am a very big Swiftie.
Yes.
Taylor Swift. Love her. So yeah, I guess those would be my like big three right now.
So let me ask you a question, actually, Jenna, on the topic of Taylor Swift. And I'm only slightly in tune with the Taylor saga, I think, that's going on, where she's basically reclaiming her music for herself, right?
Yeah.
There was issues with record labels and management and taking advantage of her and probably a lot of other things as well.
Right, yeah.
What are your thoughts on Taylor's approach and re-releasing her music? Yeah, to my knowledge, she's not changing anything about the music at all. She's re-recording it so that the rights become to her. I mean, what are your thoughts on all that?
I think that's so awesome for her, and I think that's such a good example to set for new artists coming on the scene, that they should actually be able to like own the rights to their music. Because I mean, even back to her first album, like she has wrote all of her songs. Now she's had some help on all of them, but like she is credited on every single song she's ever wrote. So it's nice that she's able to actually own the royalties and masters to all of her own songs now.
Absolutely. And I think that it's a good lesson, especially for somebody in the sports art entertainment management program, of just how important the business side of the music industry really is. You have these artists that maybe aren't always privy to the fine print or to what a label's going to actually try to leverage. And it is good to see Taylor kind of reclaiming that for herself.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask another question while I still have the mic ready. So you're doing sports art entertainment management. What kind of facet of all those areas are you looking to go into?
Definitely like the entertainment aspect, more towards like the live show aspect. So I'd love to be like a venue manager or tour manager or just something like that, because I love live music so much, but I love the organizing and planning aspect of it as well.
That's amazing. And what year are you right now?
I'm a junior, but I'm actually going to be graduating early this year. So I'm graduating in the spring.
Hey, congratulations.
Thank you.
Did you do an internship yet?
Yes, I did. I just did one over the summer with the Pittsburgh Zoo.
How did that go? What did you do?
So I was there. I'm trying to think of the title. Group sales and rentals intern. So I basically did all the booking for, the group sales, like the birthday parties and the pavilions and stuff like that. But I also did all the late night events they had there, like in the aquarium and stuff, like weddings, proms, galas, like anything like that.
Wow.
It was super fun.
It's impressive stuff.
Thanks.
And what did you learn from that opportunity? What was the takeaway?
Yeah, definitely learning the experience of like how a live event actually like works, and how no two events are the same. You'll run into problems left and right that you're just not prepared for, and you have to think of solutions like on the fly. So that was super fun to like learn and get used to.
Cool. Yeah, I'm old school, so you could tell I got a little bit of gray here, and I don't relate with a lot of the new bands you're talking about, but I am. Where do you see yourself? I mean, you were talking about what you're enjoying now. Where do you see yourself maybe 5-10 years from now?
I've been super interested in the Nashville entertainment scene. So I was thinking maybe checking out job opportunities there after graduation, because they are like such an entertainment hub, especially for live music and like up and coming artists. So I think that'd be a great opportunity to check out like down there.
Yeah, Patrick and I were just talking about that today, about John Cougar Mellencamp. I don't know if you know who that is, but he was saying how there's lots of opportunities there for many of the musicians and so forth.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Good.
I think you're just dating yourself. Even
I
more
am.
So.
I'm sorry. I go back to the
So
psychedelic days. Sorry.
So what's on your bucket list for the next, we'll just say 2 years, Jenna?
That's hard.
I know. We always ask the hard questions here.
I definitely want to travel more, because
Okay.
I feel like these past few years I've been so focused on my education. So I definitely want to get out and travel, see some stuff.
Awesome.
Definitely Nashville. Check out Nashville.
Okay.
See if it's worth moving there.
It's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard it's so great there.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I'd love to see Greta Van Fleet live.
Yes.
Speaking of.
Well, you have the connection now. So.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I would definitely say like travel more, get out, see some more stuff.
Nice. And this is kind of one I stumped Angela with a little bit earlier. But over the last year, what's one thing that you can't live without now?
You know, this past year I got super into reading.
Nice.
So now, like, I love reading. So
No
I
way,
like
that's
always
so
have a
cool.
book on me when I have downtime.
Well, Jenna, thank you so much for
Of
taking
course,
the time.
this was
for
so
talking
fun.
to us. It is fun, and like you said, you're welcome back anytime. And we'd
Oh,
love to
I'll be
learn,
back again.
Excellent. Well, we'll catch up definitely on one of our next episodes because I want to know how Nashville was and what your next book that you're reading will be.
Alrighty.
Awesome. Well, thank you again.
Yeah,
for
Yeah,
taking
thank
the
you
Jenna.
guys.
Nice meeting
Appreciate
you.
it. All right. Next on our show this morning is Rain, who is a theater arts major here in the Conservatory
Thank you for
of
having
Performing
me.
Arts. So thank you for coming
Welcome.
today.
Of course.
So, Rain, tell us about the upcoming production. Little Children Be With God.
Yeah, I'm slated to perform in an upcoming production called, as you said, Little Children Dream of God. Performs at the Pittsburgh Playhouse this November 3rd through the 14th. As far as what it's about, it follows Zula, who's in her 20s. She is a Haitian woman, born and raised, who travels on a tire with her unborn baby to Overtown, Miami, Florida, where we follow her in her journey with fleeing the demons of her past and creating a new life for herself in a very strange, changing neighborhood.
Yeah.
So it's a surrealist meets realism sort of piece where we see a lot of dream sequences, nightmare sequences of Zula, who is trying to start a new life for her and her child. And really, I think, paints a beautiful portrait of the kind of confusion and also horror of what living as an immigrant in the United States can be like. So my character, Manuel, he's a patient living in a nursing home that the protagonists sort of frequent. And he sort of serves the arc of the whole narrative about, themes touching on generational trauma, and abandonment of your elders, especially what that means in many communities of color. And he's old and he's bitter. So there's been a lot of, exploration on what that abandonment sort of means, feels like, looks like.
Yeah.
He's a Cuban immigrant. So what is his history? What is his relationship to Cuba, to the United States? And it's been a blast. It's been
That's
really
awesome.
fun.
What does it mean to you to be finally back on stage?
Oh, goodness. Well, for me, it's been quite a while. I fall in kind of this generation of kids who the pandemic took a lot of my college experience. The first year in our conservatory, my first year at least, was untainted by the pandemic. However, our first year, we're not allowed to perform in productions. Rather, we are assigned a crew production where we work backstage, which is a valuable experience, but it means our performance opportunities are limited. So halfway through the second semester of my freshman year is when it was March of was that 2019?
So it'll be
Or
2019, yeah.
2020. Yeah, anyways, that's when things sort of hit the fan. And so my performance opportunities kind of went away, and so many kids my age shared that experience with me. So the last time I performed on a stage in front of an audience would have been high school. Would have been my senior year of high school when I was 18, and now I'm soon to be 21.
So a quick question.
Sure.
I mean, so how do you think you're going to overcome that challenge of when you start getting out there and start losing that time?
Right. Well, I spoke to my family. I spoke to my dad about it because there is that fear of can I, will I, and something that he offered and something that a lot of people say is like if you truly love it, if it's something that you feel in your spirit that you're meant to do, it's like riding a bike. You'll figure it out. That's the easy part.
Yeah.
The difficult part is I guess showing up and rising up to the challenge of the story, which has been a blast so far.
Well, I think when you were explaining that, I thought I was in the theater right now. I mean, you're so passionate about your part and about the play, and I really appreciate that. I thought I was sitting here. I was like, wow.
Well, thank
I
you.
don't even have to go see it now. But,
No, I hope you do. No, I mean, I just try and do justice to the story. It's an honor to be a part of such a meaningful and forward-thinking story. The designers, the set designers, the costume designers all have a really beautiful vision for how to kind of execute it all. Tomei Cousin, he's directing, and he's done a lot of work in Carnegie and all around the area. So it's just trying to bring life to this
So
story.
take us through. One of the things is amazing, and I think this goes for all performers. Your opening night, right? Walk us through what that's like. You're behind the scenes. Everybody, you have that nervous energy, right? And that curtain is down. What is it like to be behind stage? And you're
Well,
coming
like I
together
said,
as a
I
team?
haven't done it in 3 years, so so I'll have to remember. But yeah, no, I mean it's a rush. There's a lot of adrenaline, a lot of nerves. Often actors, crew members, directors, they work tirelessly for weeks, sometimes months, if you're lucky, all in anticipation for getting to share it. And so the first share is always kind of ineffable, how to describe what that's like. And you just never know. You never know what the reaction is going to be. You never know what you yourself are going to bring to new eyes, to the first eyes to see the piece. So yeah, we're still in the early kind of process of the rehearsals. So I haven't even put myself in that place quite yet, but I'll be very excited to share with people. My parents, I'm based in Philadelphia, so they're making the drive from Philly out to see the show, staying in a hotel. I have other extended family members who are coming out to see it. So yeah, I'm stoked.
So, Rain, to wrap this conversation up, you're a student leader here on campus. I enjoy working with you in student affairs and everything.
Pleasure.
Absolutely. What's next? I know you have a lot to focus on with this production coming up, but what's the big picture for you moving forward after that production and as you're rounding out things here at Point Park?
Yeah, I'm trying to graduate.
Yes.
Like I said, I set myself up for an early graduation. Which I'm very glad that I did, because in the long run it will save me a lot of money and it'll save me a lot of time. So yeah, I'm sort of putting my head down and making sure that I complete all the requirements that I need to in order to have a timely graduation. I think in general, regarding Point Park, regarding any of the number of productions that I'll be a part of, when it's all said and done, I just want to leave the place better than I found it, I think. My time in residence life, working as a resident educator, I strive to do that, as well as my time working as an office assistant to the Office of Student Life at the moment. So, yeah, I don't know. I think just being genuine and doing the work, which, again, I'm very excited to do this fall. And then once the show closes, on to the next creative pursuit. Trying to move and affect others in the way that I love to be moved and affected.
So what about professional goals? What are some of your professional?
I just love telling stories, really. I mean, to think about it as a profession is necessary, unfortunately, but I've been fortunate enough to forge some professional opportunities, albeit small at this point. I am represented at the moment, so I would love to get to do what I love as a job, of course. I sort of want to do it all. I wanna tell stories on the stage. I love screen work. I love the intimacy of transporting people via a screen for an hour and a half, 2 hours. I love voiceover. work. I love audio, visual, just storytelling. I hope to tell stories, and I would be honored if anybody would pay me to do that. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Rain, I can certainly tell just in our short, conversation here this morning. Like I said, you're very well spoken, and no doubt, the individuals that you work in and around the university community are no doubt fortunate to have you a part of this community.
Thank you.
And you're going to do great, without a doubt. For our audience, if you can kind of summarize, you said you're a storyteller and you're passionate about what you do. What advice would you give to your colleagues, who are coming into maybe their junior or senior year, to kind of help motivate them and keep them, moving forward?
A piece of advice that I received pretty early on is take your work seriously, but don't take yourself too seriously, I think. I'm trying to remember who said that. It might have been Meryl Streep. Mm-hmm. Or maybe it was Stevie Nicks, a powerful woman, whoever it was.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's been helpful for me. Find what it is that you're passionate about. Find something that that fuels you, that gets you up in the morning, because otherwise, what's the point? But have fun doing it. I think that's the most important.
Well, Rain, thank you again for joining us today. And again, for those in our audience, make sure that you check out Little Children, Dream of God, and Rain in the upcoming production this fall. You can find tickets and more information on the pointpark.edu website.
Pittsburgh Playhouse.
And specifically, Google Pittsburgh Playhouse.
Yeah.
Like I said, either through the Point Park website or just Google it. Like I said, it's a standalone site as well. But like I said, they do some amazing work, and we look forward to seeing you in an upcoming show.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
gentlemen.
Rain.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rain.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Today we have Giovanni Moore here, who is an English major at Point Park University. And we're going to dig into a little bit of music, movies, and the entertainment world, which I think all three of us are certainly excited to talk about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Giovanni, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so in case you missed it, I'm Giovanni, and just a little bit about me. I'm a musician and an actor as well. And I'm trying to explore like the writing world as well, and like just get into as many creative outlets as possible and just keep myself busy.
That's so cool. What type of music do you play? Like you said, you're a musician?
So I'm in a couple bands right now. One of them is called Eye Candy, and that's basically all about the punk rock and a hardcore Pittsburgh DIY scene. We actually have a show this Saturday at 222 Ormsby. We're going to be playing.
Oh, that's a great venue.
Yes, we're going to be playing with Bay Street, and then another Pittsburgh band called Rocky Dennis Face.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Have you ever played at that venue before?
I have not, but I've been trying to, and I finally got it figured out. Like, I found the right person, and he's been so great on helping out with new bands. Because, like, we're not really that new, but we're not really that old. Like, we started in, like, late 2019, and then, like, COVID, you know, killed everything.
Yeah.
And then by 2021, May of this year, everything just started back up before we were even ready for it. And we're like, oh, shoot, we might have missed the train a little bit to get back on our feet. But we figured it out eventually.
That's awesome.
And, this is going to be our first gig in quite a while.
Nice. Well, you're definitely in the right place because this guy next to me is a world-renowned podcaster in the music industry.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, Spinning Thoughts, he interviews bands all over the world, so I'm sure he's going to have a few line of questions.
Yeah,
the way, right?
I definitely, I'm into the music. I've played in bands before as well. The punk rock is definitely my scene, a little bit of the grittier style of music. And like I was saying, that 222 Ormsby, that's about as DIY of a venue as it gets. It used to be a grocery store, to my knowledge, I think, and they converted it into a venue. I actually went to high school with the guy who owned it. I don't think he owns it anymore. Max, maybe that's somebody that you worked with.
No, I don't know. I don't know that name, and I actually didn't know it used to be a grocery store.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can definitely see like it. I was looking it up, and it's like it's in a residential neighborhood, and it's pretty much a basement.
Yeah.
And that's as DIY as it's gonna get.
It absolutely is. Talk to me about the DIY scene though here in Pittsburgh. Now, whenever I was playing in bands pretty consistently, and I haven't been consistently, I always enjoyed the scene, I guess you could say, but I always felt that it was somewhat lacking to an extent, whether it be the support from not necessarily venues or anything, but just like the local support doesn't always seem to show up. What's your perception of that? Has it changed with the pandemic, with people not being able to get to shows, or do you think that there will be a resurgence in the DIY scene?
Okay, that's a great question. But I feel as though there does need to be a little bit of a resurgence there and a little bit more support from each of like the other bands. Like for example, I feel like I don't want to shame any Pittsburgh bands because they're all great and they're all awesome. But I feel like they can all be a little bit inwardly focused, because like, you know, I've tried hitting up a couple people about, you know, doing shows together, and they just like didn't get back to me. And well, I feel as part of being DIY and part of making it is developing those connections and growing into something much, much more bigger than anybody can imagine. And well, I feel like without that communication, it's just gonna not really go anywhere. It's not gonna grow. It's not gonna expand in any way. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say about that.
I got to ask this question, and only because we have such a diverse listening audience, and I'm not talking about what DIY stands for, but what's the concept as far as related to what you're doing with music and so forth, so that we understand what that concept means. What is DIY?
So DIY is basically do it yourself. That's what it stands for.
Right.
And well, you know, because me personally and in my bands, we didn't really have much of anything really. Like all that happened was one night we decided, you know what, let's get together and let's see if we can make something happen. It just starts with us, and we just keep the ball rolling from there. But like, you know, we got it started. We didn't get that much help from anybody else. We just kind of kept pushing and nagging on, and then finally we're getting somewhere, and it's like awesome. So I'm hoping we can keep that ball rolling.
Okay.
Nice. So when you sit down to write material, where do your influences come from?
So definitely our influences are Rage Against the Machine, System of a Down, 68, if you know who they are.
Yep.
Oh, you do?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Oh, yeah. And how it happened one night is a couple years ago at the KeyBank Pavilion, we saw a band called Fever 333.
Oh,
and
they're so good.
Aren't they?
They're amazing. They blend so many genres together. They're amazing.
Yes, and we saw that as like the modern day Rage Against the Machine. So
Yep.
we saw them 2019, and then we were like, well, shoot, if they can do it, then, you know, we can do it, because they have 3 guys, a singer, guitar player, and a drummer, and that's exactly what Eye Candy is, coincidentally, just a singer, a guitar player, and drummer. I'm the guitar player, and we just kind of kept going at it, and writing a little bit about things that are concerning to us, like what Amazon is doing, where it's like they're mistreating their employees, and just all these big corporations that think they're so great that they don't have to play by the rules. That's what's concerning to us, and that's the kind of things that we like to write about. We don't really want to sit down and write about mental health or depression, because we feel like it can get a little old sometimes. It's a very important subject, don't get me wrong, but there's only so many songs you can make about that without saying the same thing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm curious then, so you have a show coming up here pretty soon. What else is in the pipeline for you creatively, and maybe even more specifically professionally or educationally, since we are here at Point Park University?
So are you, So I kind of like to shift away from music a little bit, if that's okay.
Yeah.
And go into more the acting side, because like I'm an actor too, and I've been doing it a lot. I've been doing acting a lot more than I've been playing music. And right now I'm involved with a company based down in Newcastle called Zombie Beast Productions. And what we basically do is we make horror films, like low-budget horror films. We're talking less than $1,000 budget, and we just make stuff. We just make the kind of things that are scary to us, and just all-out weird stuff. We already put out a film like on YouTube, just to like test the waters, see what everybody can do, and see if there's things we need to work on. It's by all no means perfect, but like that's okay, because like we just wanted to get it out there and I don't know, get the ball rolling, so that way our next film, which we're working on right now, is going to be even better than that.
Sometimes there's actually more authenticity or more grit to the ones when it's not polished.
Yeah, exactly. Like we don't have any CGI or anything. All practical stuff. Again, less than 1,000. You can only do so much with less than $1,000. But I feel as though that ends up making the better movie if you have less to work with.
So as a musician, as a writer and an actor, how would you describe the importance of just human language?
I would describe it as, oh man, I gotta really think about this one.
We're hitting you with some deep philosophical questions here.
Yes.
Right?
Like, what is language?
Usually Angela's in on these ones.
Yeah.
I don't know. Could you? I'm sorry. Could you repeat that question for me?
So again, like you said, what you write or what you produce, right? So on the stage as a musician or as a writer, that has a lasting legacy. So when you're thinking about just the art of crafting words and language, what does that mean to you?
To me, it's kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like you get to wake up every day, and you get to stand by what you create and what you say to other people. Even just like a simple conversation to your next door neighbor that you don't even know. That's who you are. And if you wake up every day and you produce and make things that you don't really mean deep inside, then like, what's the point? What are you doing? But for me personally, and I think the rest of my bandmates and the rest of the crew at Zombie Beast can relate to, I feel like we all can wake up and we all can say, this is who we are. This is what we stand by. And you don't have to like it, and that's okay, but it's who, yeah, I'm kind of stumbling.
I think you're absolutely right.
I'm stumbling a little bit because I can't really explain it any more clear than that,
Yeah.
but I'm hoping you get the right idea, right?
We
Absolutely.
do, absolutely, and that's the idea. And I think whether it's vocally as a musician or a writer or just a conversation with your neighbor, it's the words that we choose to use reflect who we are. And I think when you follow through in what you say and what you believe and your true self, then, like I said, I think that's very admirable from my perspective. So,
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that my biggest takeaway from what you're saying basically is to live with purpose, to have something that you could be proud of, that you can stand by, something that others can tangibly kind of place their finger on, to know kind of where you want your life to go and kind of where you stand. I think that that's important. And I also think that the younger generations lean into that a lot more these days. They want to have a purpose. They want to have a larger than life impact. And so I encourage you to keep striving to make that impact.
Yeah, I also think it's just staying true to yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And being who you are.
And
That's it.
going back to your conversation about, real quick, the younger generation, I feel like the younger generation, like you said, they're kind of looking for that purpose of theirs, but the problem with that is I feel like that they only choose what the popular majority are doing because they feel like they don't have any other choice. And that's a huge problem because, you know, it's like waking up one day and saying, "Oh, the sky is green," just because an 80% of the kids in school say so. So it must be true. The sky is green, but they don't actually believe that. But they're just following it because that's what everybody else is doing, and that's not okay.
Awesome. Well, Giovanni, thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate the conversation. And if you have the chance, check out Eye Candy. Check out Zombie Beast Films.
Yeah.
In and around the Pittsburgh area.
Oh yeah,
And,
actually,
let us know.
I just want to say real quick, the film on YouTube is called Killer Country, and the name under it is Vince Burkett. So if you want to check that out, please feel free to do so. And as far as Eye Candy goes, we have Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and we'll be putting out music real soon. So stick around for that.
Awesome. Thank you. And we'll definitely make sure we plug those in the show notes as well. But it's a pleasure talking to you, and thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Giovanni.
Our pleasure. All right. Welcome back. We have Valletta here with us today. Valletta, how are you doing? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing good. How you guys doing today?
Hey, we are good.
Good.
So, Valletta, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Okay, so my name is Valletta Hosey. I work for Culinart. I've been working between Aramark and Culinart for 17 years.
Wow.
And I run their coffee shop.
Awesome. And let me tell you, folks, she does not just only run their coffee shops, but she is the smiling, energetic face of our community.
Absolutely.
So you keep us all going. You know everybody, and we look forward to seeing you each day.
And the feeling is
and
mutual.
it's awesome to have you here. So, Valletta, let's talk about some unemployment in the United States,
Yes.
which is a significant challenge. Give me some of your perspective. What do you think?
I mean, I just felt like, okay, we all know we coming back from the pandemic, and I just felt like that, with that being said, it would be more jobs available, you know, for people, and I felt like that they will be trying to encourage people to come back to work. But with the wages that's being, you know, offered for these jobs, I feel like that's the big problem. Like, they saying, well, $15 an hour. What does that really do, you know, for a family?
Yeah.
You know, it's hard. So I just feel like it needs to be a better solution to deal with this unemployment situation in the United States.
Yeah, and specifically, if you look at kind of where we're located, you know, we're in an urban area, downtown Pittsburgh, and you know, as a result of everything that has happened this past year or so, you know, from my perspective, you look at this historically, and it isn't necessarily just the pandemic that caused this. I think it was kind of just the thing that kind of pushed us to where we're at.
Absolutely.
It's been along. And I think organizations don't know what to do. So I think it's even larger than just compensation.
Well, I agree with that. And I can say that because even with the company that I'm with, like, we need people so badly. And with the trouble that the businesses suffered from losing money, I understand that their point is, how can they offer us more money if the business suffered from the pandemic? But we also have to look at the fact that the unemployment rate in the United States was already a mess before the pandemic. So I just wonder, what is it going to take for us to become functional, you know, human beings, to get a decent wage, and where we can, you know, provide for our families without going paycheck to paycheck.
I don't know. This is a big debate. What do you guys think?
Well, anytime I look at a problem that's on such a large scale, what I always try to start with is what can we do individually? What can we do on a individual level, on a small scale level, to make an impact, or to even redirect our own focus to be in those areas. So, Valletta, I mean, like, what's your perspective on, like, on an individual level? What can individuals do to have their voices maybe be heard more, to get out there into the public, to let this be known, or to even have some solutions on the table? What's your perspective there?
I mean, I would suggest, that people speak more about the situations, that we, have to make it the problem known in order for the solution to come. So I don't know. I mean, I know several people, families that's suffering from this very thing, and it's okay. It doesn't matter what type of work you do, whether you're a McDonald's worker, a dishwasher. We all just trying to make a living. So I feel like maybe if we can go to like our senators and our the people that's in our boroughs or whatever, and make the situation known, then maybe we can get some help from higher up.
So talk to me about your experience here in Point Park, right? So this is a central hub on our campus. And yes, people come in and out to get a drink, coffee, iced tea, whatever it is. But I think it's more than that. Like, you're not just selling those beverages or the food. It's the atmosphere and the human connection.
Absolutely.
How does that factor into this discussion?
I mean, it's communication. You have to make a person feel welcome and comfortable. And that's what I try to do with each and every person that I serve. Like, I'll learn their names, I'll learn what they drink. But I think that was what brings everybody back. It's the fact that they felt like they were special, that they were treated, with respect, and to just try to make it a happy experience, even though you just coming in, maybe to buy a muffin or something. But the fact that somebody take the time out to ask you how your day was, how you doing today, that makes the person feel comfortable.
And I'm going to put you on the spot, Dennis.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
It's
Go
time.
ahead.
From a valuation standpoint, right? When you think of compensation packages and just monetary value, I mean, obviously, placing a price on a product or a service can be done, but how do you place monetary value on, as Valletta said? It's not just what they're buying, it's the experience that they get, right? And how does that then translate or impact wages, perhaps?
Oh, wow. Good question.
That's why I asked.
Yeah, I figured you'd throw that one at me. I think that this topic is so controversial that it's political, it's business,
Livelihood.
It's tough. Yeah, you got all these forces coming together against each other. Business wants to make profit, and the people out there want to make enough to support their families, and so on and so on. But and maybe I'm getting off track here, but we both have taught business old school way where it was profit, profit, profit. But I've learned this new concept, and I think that it is very important as somebody who's running a business, really hear this and maybe take it to heart. But and you've heard of it, the bottom line, triple bottom line, and it's 3 P's: people, planet, and profit. So I guess the problem is that we have a lot of people out there with this old school mentality that it's all about profit, 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 who own the business, but they don't realize what role people play, their personalities, their roles within the business, and how they interact with their customers and so forth. That plays a huge role in getting or making profit. So I think and we talked about it earlier where we discussed about how leadership is misunderstood sometimes, and we got to really look at, I think sometimes the business model is sometimes old-fashioned, misunderstood, and doesn't fit where we're at today. So I hope I'm answering your question.
You are, and I think what it's getting to, and I think Valletta, you brought up a good point, is that our mental models of business are shifting as well as a result of the pandemic.
Right.
And I think, as with any change in life or in business or the world, it just takes time, right? So younger generations, as you said, are more connected to
an organization's social responsibility.
Yes.
Hands down.
Yes.
Right? And I think, again, the pandemic accelerated it, right? A lot of these issues were here before. It was just the variable that really brought it to the surface, I think. And we're starting to see, I think, organizations are being forced to think about not just how the future of their workforce is going to look, but how are we going to be global partners or even community partners? And compensation is one part of that.
And you bring up a great point. And again, I'm going into the broader sense of this whole thing, but mindsets. You start talking about the younger generation, as far as I'm concerned, has grown up in the microwave mindset. And what I mean by that, everything's instantaneous. And they're like, hey, man, why can't we just change this like today? Why isn't this just going to, hey, we got an idea, we got a concept, let's change it. And they don't realize that from people from an older generation who have experienced, hey, sometimes it does take time. And we are shifting, and I do see differences. The old guys, the old tyrants and profit people, they're going to be gone here in another decade or two. And hopefully we as professors and leaders and so forth, we're putting out a new concept, a new model that younger people are going to follow and say, wait a minute. I mean, even in my day, I think there was just a few decades it got crazy where profit, greed. Because there was a day when owners of companies would say, you know what, we're hitting hard times. I'm not going to lay any of you off. I'll take the money out of my pocket, and I'll keep you working as much as I can and to keep you going. And they did that. And then all of a sudden, profit, the Enron days, make money. And I think it's just shifting back to a mindset that it's not, profit is not the ultimate, shouldn't be the ultimate goal is what I should say. I don't know. Maybe I'm just babbling. I don't know.
Angela, what do you think?
I turned my mic down. I'm trying to get it so that I'm not picking up all the blender, so I turned it off there for a second. Here's my perspective to maybe put a bow on this is I think the conversation on unemployment is one that will be ongoing. Just as so many other topics right now, these conversations were ongoing before the pandemic, and the pandemic is only changing the scope of that conversation even more. But what I really love is how in this moment we actually captured, I think, the most important element in business and in the world, and is, Valletta even talked about it, is the people. And I mean, as we're sitting here talking with Valletta, you'll see it on the video, her go up and help the customers that were coming in the door. Nothing supersedes that to Valletta. And I hope that businesses, companies, owners don't take the people for granted, not just the people coming in the door, because I feel like that's kind of what you're talking about, Dennis, is that profit. That's the people walking in the door. But what about the people that open up the doors for everybody else, And
they are actually profit as well. If you really dig deep enough,
yeah,
you'll find that they are profit as well.
Awesome. Excellent. Very good. Well, thank you, Valletta. I appreciate it. This is an incredibly, as each of you have said, an important topic, and it's one that, like I said, I don't think is going to get resolved anytime soon, but I think you're going to have more significant debate and conversation about unemployment and compensation and how organizations interact, work, treat, recruit, sustain, and just keep their employees. Again, that's something that, just as a result of the last few years, and even before, but it's going to change. All right. Welcome back, everyone. And we have here with us Natalia, who is a broadcast journalism major with a minor in marketing.
Yes, I
here
am.
at Point Park University. That's awesome. Natalia, before we get to your topic of conversation, which is pretty deep.
It is deep.
If I think about it. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm a sophomore at Point Park. My major is broadcast journalism with a minor in marketing, and I'm involved with a lot at the school. I'm actually a social media manager, host of Pioneer Sideline, which is the sports show.
Oh, cool.
And I'm co-producer of Entertainment on Point and a reporter with that. I'm on the track team, and I'm a hurdler, sprinter, and jumper with that. And I'm president-elect of the honors program, too.
When are you taking over the world?
I know.
Yeah.
Seriously, when is that happening?
Wow.
We're ready.
You know what? That's what everyone says. But I really like being busy, and it's fun, and I really love Point Park. So It's a little bit about me.
Cool.
So I know you wrote down life as your topic, right? So how did all these interest areas, because they are somewhat diverse,
Yeah.
how did they all kind of merge, and how did you get interested in doing so many things?
So in high school, I was a part of the media department, and since my freshman year, so it all started with that in Media 1, and then I ended up taking broadcasting sophomore year, and then I ended up taking broadcasting again junior year, but with TV productions, which is like the morning announcements team. So I just started behind the scenes with all the media stuff, but then I realized that I really like being on air, so I took the on-air talent class. And that's kind of what got me into my major and like where I am now with media. And that's why I came to Point Park, is because of like the communications school and all of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of a little bit about my background with that. And I've always been kind of like in charge of stuff in high school and like president of clubs.
Yeah.
So I kind of just took that on in college too, to continue my like academic excellence.
Okay. Well, and I guess I'm going to ask the big question: what is life?
Oh,
I'm just
jeez.
kidding.
I wish I knew.
I'm just kidding. No. So I guess, I mean, it just sounds like you have it so together and everything. So tell us what is one of the things that you love about life so much?
I really love like having relationships with people and like connecting with people on a deeper level. I really realize that that's kind of how I like to form relationships, and that's why I like going to a smaller school, because I like seeing people that I know and I like talking to people, and I feel like that really helps with like, you know, who I am and like what I'm about.
Awesome. So this is going to be a really difficult question, right? You said
What
you're a
is
track
life?
guy.
Oh, no.
Not as philosophical, but so you're a hurdler, right? What are you thinking when you're lined up right before the starting gun goes off?
I don't want to fall on my face. Literally, that's the one thing I'm like, I just want to start the race and finish the race. That's like the goal. And as long as I try my best and I, run as fast as I can and I finish nice and strong, that's what it's about.
Awesome.
It's kind of like some of our goals in life is just not fall on our face and
Try
just
our
try
best.
not to, try to get to that end, to that
Yeah.
finish line.
And I've really because in college, I feel like I've really had the mindset of like making sure that I don't rush anything. Like everything is a journey. It's a part of the journey. It's not about the destination, about getting there. It's really just about, learning from everything and taking, advice from all of that stuff.
So I kind of like where you're going with that portion of things. I'm a big fan of living in the present. I think that too often people try to look into the future, and sometimes people perseverate on the past, right? But I think that when we can live in the present, we can really appreciate what's going on around us and even focus our energy on the things that we want to impact in our future. You are taking on a lot currently. What is it right now in the present that's motivating you the most, that's inspiring you the most?
Honestly, I feel like just trying to get better as a person. Like everything that I do, I do it for a reason. And time is such a valuable thing that obviously I'm juggling all these things, but I feel like I'm truly, splitting my time up well and trying to just do everything as best as I can.
And I want to piggyback off of that as well. I teach a University 101 class, City Life here, and one of the topics that we talk about at the beginning of the semester is time management, balancing your time. Just from meeting you very briefly here again, reiterating the amount of things that you're taking on, what advice would you give to your peers here on not just necessarily getting involved? It's one thing to get involved, but if you're spreading yourself too thin, if you're not managing your time correctly, that's not necessarily the best endeavor, right? What advice would you give to your peers to be able to find balance and to manage time to be as productive and well-rounded, seemingly, as you are?
My one piece of advice is honestly to write everything down and have a calendar, because that's how I stay on top of all my schoolwork and I get good grades, because I make sure all my assignments are listed. I check everything off when I'm done with it. And even on a calendar with all your activities, making sure you don't overbook yourself and making sure that, you got everything handled. And if you do have an overbook, it's okay to understand that, it's okay to say, okay, I overbooked myself. I have to go back and, tell them I can't make it. Because that's totally fine. Everyone's, human. So that's what I've learned, is just making sure that everything's on a calendar and organized.
Kind of in the same line, except a little deeper question. And, I could just tell by your personality, you're very up and energetic and so forth. So, do you have many Debbie Downers in your life who, just complain about life and so forth? How do you influence others to see life as you see life?
So I just try to think of it in a way that everything happens for a reason, and I kind of just try to tell my friends, my family, that like if something bad happens in your life, then you need to just look at it in a way that's like, instead of looking at it in a bad way, you need to look at it in a way, what did I learn from this? What do I need to do next time that I don't repeat the same thing? Because in that way, that's how you'll turn something negative into a positive thing. And everything that you go through in life is who you are. Like everything, it makes you who you are. So that's how I stay positive and happy. Literally.
All right, Natalie, thank you for taking the time today. We love your energy, love your outlook.
Thank you,
and like
guys.
you said, that's it's assignment, and best of luck on your midterm here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks,
Absolutely.
Natalie.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We have Chrissy here joining us. Chrissy, you notice you are a bit of a creative writer.
Yes,
So tell us a little bit about your background, and would love to learn more.
Well, I was born and raised in Wilkinsburg. I am the oldest of 3 siblings. I am also from a line of what I like to call the creative family. My dad paints and writes. I'm the poet. My brother is the drawer, and my little sister is the anime artist. But I am creative writing major junior here at Point Park.
Oh, that's so cool. So I have to ask, when did kind of the bug kind of catch you for the creative writing side? Because I think that certainly draws up a certain personality.
It was in 8th grade,
Nice.
back in the middle of math class, where they were talking about basically how in college you have to have at least one math class in science. I was like, well, if you're going to be writing in your future, why would you really need any of that? And they were like, and they didn't give me an answer. I was like, so that's how you know. And it was also, I was more of an introvert all the way throughout my school education. And I turned in an anonymous piece to basically talk out to my bullies and all that. And they were like, oh, so this is really good. So who wrote this? They didn't have a name on it. And I just kind of like sheepishly like raised my hand. And they're like, really? You wrote this? I was like, yes. They're like, no, you didn't. I was like, yes, I did. And I owned it. And it was that first time, like after that, I started sitting in the front of the classroom and like owning my stuff more. And it was that moment where I was like, this is bigger than me. And I was like, I want other people to step out of the shadows and be their selves and not have to worry about everybody who deems themselves as better or dominant or the classroom tough guy, so to say.
Yeah.
So to basically to be that mentor to somebody that other people didn't have growing up, that I didn't really have growing up, and be that kind of individual for people.
I'm, if you don't mind, I want to jump in on this. So, Chrissy, I know you, and as I said off the air, Chrissy was in my University 101 class. Enjoyed teaching you, and I'm glad that you and I are still connected and still, talk and give each other advice and stuff. I've seen you grow and evolve over the last couple years, and I believe I'm correct here by saying you're a first-generation college student, correct?
Absolutely.
And I know that even in my university class, you mentioned about how you've already started now to inspire others in your family, and you do have somebody else in your family now who is in college, correct?
Yes.
So talk to us just a little bit about what that's been like being a first-generation college student, and now seeing others in your family following in those impressive footsteps.
Well, to elaborate on the story, I wasn't originally supposed to be the first one in line for college. I had 2 cousins who were supposed to be in college long before me, but it took me being in college 2 weeks and killing it, mind you, for them to step up and say that I could do this. As far as what it's like to be the first generation college student, I really don't have mommy and daddy to help with the bills anymore. I was like, mom and dad was like, oh, you'll be my little girl. I was like, okay, and the first college tuition bill came. I was like, so is that still gonna happen? So it's always been a little bit of a challenge for me, but it's also a heck of a great milestone, because back in elementary school, middle school, high school, I never thought I was gonna be able to make it through high school, more or less to even make a foot into college. And to be able to do that, last semester I passed with a 3.8 GPA,
Awesome.
Fantastic.
which is the highest GPA that I've ever had in my whole academic life. So to be able to do that, and my brother is a freshman in college this semester going to Pitt for animation, I want to be able to continue that you can do this kind of mentor / chief in front of the village kind of thing, and let them know that it definitely is hard. Like, I cry so many times, and I guess that's a part of being a creative writing / the starving artist kind of life. You fall down so many times, but you keep bouncing back up. No matter how many times you fall, no matter how hard the push was that made you fall, you just keep getting back up.
You know, I can relate with your story. My background's kind of the same, and but I just want to give you a couple words of wisdom. You won't believe, as you get older, how much you impact other lives just by sharing that inspiring story. That just keep telling people what you're telling them, that because it's important, and you'll be surprised how many lives you'll touch with your experiences.
And one instance is back in high school, I originally was trying to get more of a part of the classroom because, like, my teacher who doesn't teach my year anymore was in the lower classes. I was like, okay. And I walked in, and this girl was, like, one by herself and was crying, and everybody else kind of picking at her. So in that instance, I saw myself in her. And I was like, no, this isn't right. I was like, nobody was there to do it for me, so why can't I do it for them? So I literally dragged my chair up from the front of the class because I was like a teacher assistant, and I went to the back. And I was like, she just cried on my shoulder. And from there, it was like, this poetry, which is what I like to concentrate in my major, isn't just for me. There's going to be audiences that are going to read this. I'm not going to be the only one who goes through a heartbreak. I'm not going to be the only one who wants to drop out of high school, drop out of college, but decide to go through it because they don't want to let each other down. I'm not going to be the only one who goes through it, just like Maya Angelou wasn't the only one, just like several other poets and everybody in my life before me, my past lives. I'm not going to be the only one. So in order for me to be able to make that step in history for other people to better themselves, I want to be that person.
You know, and I just want to put this plug in there. That is true leadership. And this is what our show's all about, is about leadership. And that is true leadership. You know, stepping outside yourself, stepping into a role to where you influence and impact so many other people. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
And absolutely, 100% agree there. And I appreciate your authenticity. And I really want to know, where does your strength come from? I mean, because again, when I listen to you speak and what you have done throughout your life in helping others, while pushing forward in your own journey, like where does it come from?
First and foremost, it comes from my relationship with God. And I've been brought into a very heavy Christian-like family. Also, it comes with, I call it the SpongeBob metaphor. I live in a world with so many Squidwards. And there's no reason why you can't be that one SpongeBob that steps up and says, I'm ready. Like, hell yeah, I'm ready.
Did you come up with that?
Yes.
I love that.
Thank you for not making fun of the Starship Patrick. Because we know people go there sometimes. But anyway, that's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Hey, Chrissy, I really appreciate you coming, giving us the time. I'm always impressed with what you're doing. I think that the only other thing that I would ask of you right now, Patrick we had a musician who was talking to us earlier, and Patrick put them on the spot. So I'm going to put you on the spot. Give me a couple lines of a poem that maybe you have memorized, or just some creative words that we could put onto this podcast right now.
Okay. I actually performed this yesterday. It's called, or it's the beginning of To the First Man Who Called Me Queen and Meant It. I can only assume what you meant and how you reacted when I first told you how much it means to me. how words were best friends to a once lonely girl that if written herself into an essay would be a self-contradiction that the word processor would not be able to keep up with.
That's awesome.
Oh, there it is.
Chills.
You didn't think I would be ready for that?
I knew you would be ready for that. Chrissy did an impromptu almost. I'd say it was impromptu. Like slam poetry in my university class for everybody in there. Always impressed with you, Chrissy.
Thank you, Chrissy. I really appreciate
Absolutely.
your
Thank you so much
your
for
story.
being able to interview me.
Yeah.
I know this has been something I've been talking to Angela about.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Very cool. Well, Christy, it was a real pleasure. And again, we wish you all the best. And no doubt we're going to hear many more amazing things as you continue your journey, both here at Point Park and beyond.
Absolutely. If you see Chrissy Bloom on any book, that would be me.
Okay.
Awesome.
We hope.
Thank
Thank
so
you,
much.
Chrissy.
Absolutely.
All right, we'd like to welcome to the show Steven, who's an accounting major here in the Roland School of Business at Point Park University. And we're going to talk a little bit about Point Park, your final semester, leading up to graduation. So, Steven, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Dr. Malvin Hill.
Pleasure. Absolutely. And please call me Patrick. Sounds a little too formal, fancy there. But tell us just a little bit about your background and where you're from.
Sure thing. So I actually graduated from the Community College of Allegheny County back in December of 2019. I came here to Point Park University as a transfer student in accounting. And actually, I completed an internship this past summer at a local nonprofit organization called Partner for Work Pittsburgh.
Awesome. That's awesome. Cool. So how, this is your final semester at Point Park, right? So just from your perspective, I mean, what's this journey like, making your way towards graduation?
Well, it's kind of been, difficult to find different jobs right now because the job market is really crazy with people, exiling because of working from home, or they're taking the option of working back in the office again. But with the accounting industry, everyone is looking to have an accountant. And luckily for me right now, just a few days ago, I just got a job offer.
That's so exciting. Cool. And are you comfortable sharing maybe who you're going to be working with and what you're doing?
No, I'm just kidding. I actually accepted an offer from a auditing firm that is up in Cranberry Township called SR Snodgrass.
Yep. Awesome.
It's amazing.
So what are you doing to prepare yourself for this transition from college to work?
Networking. More or less getting information from accountants and auditors within the industry and getting some expectation on what it is like to travel, to understand what the different aspects of accounting are, the different principles that are to be followed. So getting the experience firsthand is one of the biggest priorities right now before even jumping into this experience.
Well, I got to add to that, okay? What about emotionally? Are you ready?
I don't even know if I could even answer that question.
What are you most looking forward to, right? Because, again, your schedule obviously will change a little bit. So it goes from semesters and classes to a regular professional schedule, right?
Getting to know the clients a little better, because in accountant, your job is to make sure that the clients are being treated respectively, you're taking due care, due process, due diligently, and you're competent in order to complete such an opportunity and a task like this. In accounting, that is considered a code of ethics. And for me, that change is to know my clients, know what industry they are a part of, and how do you take care of their situations.
So what about you? Right outside, because you've gone through this process and you've acquired the academic and intellectual knowledge to move into this field. Do you have any personal goals, hobbies, or things that you want to do perhaps?
Well, I'd like to work in television one day. That's for darn sure.
Awesome.
Accounting, television. Wow, that's a unique combination. Can you explain more about that?
Sure. When I was in high school, I used to be a part of our television station. And after graduation, I actually got the opportunity to volunteer at a local TV station in Bethel Park called Bethel Park Public Access Television. And through the years, I have helped in directing and helped in editing and putting together programs for more than 400 shows.
Wow.
So I've had all the experience needed to understand who the people are behind it, what kind of style the show goes into, and exactly what is the concept we're going to go through with our community and our viewers.
So is this more on a, volunteer type?
For the television side?
Yeah.
This was more of a volunteer thing at BPTV, but sometime in the future, probably like 20 years down the line or more, I don't know.
You make that sound so long, but it's not as long as you think. Trust me.
It's going to go by fast.
Well, in entertainment, you have to, it's hard to transition from one end to the other.
Okay.
So you have to make it smooth. And if you think about it too fast, it's going to hit you hard.
Okay.
So you got to think of it through and make a good plan about it. If you think about it way too fast, it's going to hurt you.
Okay.
Stephen, I first met you because I was your advisor here at Point Park, and I honestly still remember the first day I met you, and this is one of my favorite things about you is this experience I'm about to say. I was in my office, and you come walking down the hall. I'd never met you before, and you were like making your rounds around campus. You had already met Dean Tanzilli at this point. You had met Molly McClellan, you'd met Michael Elko, Brad Thompson, and you come walking into my office, shake my hand, and tell me who you are, what you've done, and what you're looking for. And you're a success story in a lot of different ways. You're a transfer student. A lot of times transfer students don't always complete the program, right? There's a high rate of attrition sometimes with transfer students. You're showing that you have the skills to be successful, to leave a place where you had success and go into a new place and find more success. I love your personality. I love your approach, and you deserve all the accomplishments that you've gained so far. What advice would you give as you're rounding the corner here to end your stint, your tenure here at Point Park? What advice would you give to your peers to maybe be a little bit more like that, or just advice on how to network? Because I think you network very well.
Well, some advice I'd like to give to some people who are in accessibility services and those who have disabilities accommodations and those who kind of feel unfortunate or feel down by what they have. My piece of advice is this. This is my favorite catchphrase to use. Your disability becomes your ability. Always think of it outside the box. Don't ever put yourself in a position where you think you can't do it. If I'm someone who's autistic and is able to think outside the box and to really work hard and to make the best example of myself possible, go for it. Don't ever back yourself out of it.
Wow.
Good advice.
This is why I love you, Stephen. Words of extreme wisdom there.
Yeah, and obviously, like I said, Stephen, you're a shining example of those exact words and that exact approach to tackling challenges as well as pursuing opportunities. So
yeah, we know you're in a hurry. You got to go take a test, or no,
class.
You have a class. Okay, and but we want to thank you for participating and being on the show, and we appreciate it. And we're sure you're going to go far.
And congratulations on the job as well. I mean, what an accomplishment. That's the goal, right? So good job.
Thank you so much, guys.
thank you, Stephen. Take care. All right. Thank you, everybody, again for joining us today. Like I said, this is our first podcast back in a while. And like I said, we're excited to kind of get this ball rolling again. Dennis, final thoughts?
Hey, I'm just glad to be out of my apartment down here in the city. It's been a long time since I've been in the city, and back on the campus here at Point Park. So, again, I just had a good time.
Angelo.
This is what gives podcasting such a good name, and this is what I believe gives, university life such a good name, is the experience that we had here. We talked to a diverse group of people with different topics that they wanted to discuss and just really had candid, honest conversations. So I'm grateful to be part of this, and for everybody who sat down and really just off the cuff had just a regular kind of conversation. It's these little things that, maybe a lot of us, including myself, took for granted the last year or so, and it just feels good to be back.
Very well stated, Angelo and Dennis. And like you said, it's an opportunity to, again, reconnect. We had some awesome conversations, fully authentic. And like you said, I look forward to joining each of you and our guests here hopefully soon for another edition.
Yeah.
And look forward to you in the audience. Thank you again for your patience. Thank you for continuing to tune in, because again, you are equally as much of this podcast as us and our guest here today. So look forward to seeing you on a future episode.
Yeah. Good day.